Happy Tuesday, everybody. So for today's story time, I'm going to be reading Adios Oscar, a butterfly fable. I'm doing this because I have Go Packs available for Cinco De Mayo. They just have crafts, a little insight about what really is celebrated on Cinco de Mayo, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, that being said, we are going to start reading Adios Oscar. There was a house. In the window of this house, there was a flower in a pot. On a leaf of this flower, there was a little caterpillar. And if you'd asked this caterpillar his name, he would have said, "My name is Oscar." That's just what he said when a butterfly flew in from the sky, landed on his flower, and asked him his name. "Pleased to meet you, Oscar," said the butterfly. "My name's Bob. I just flew in from Detroit, and boy, are my wings tired. But seriously, do you know the way to get to Mexico?" "Nope, but I sure like those wings of yours," said Oscar. "Thanks," said Bob. "One day you'll have a pair of your own." "Really?" Oscar gasped. "Count on it," said Bob. Then fluttering off onto the passing breeze, he shouted, "If you're ever down in Mexico, look me up." Oscar crawled as fast as he could to tell his caterpillar friends all about the wings he was going to grow and how he was going to fly far away, just like Bob the butterfly. "No one listens to butterflies," Squirmy sneered. They just make stuff up. "Besides, anyone with big crazy wings has to be nuts," scoffed Wiggly. "And anyone who believes them is nuttier," Nibbles laughed. "Look at us," sang the three caterpillars. "We're Oscar, the amazing flying nut." "You're starting to bug me," Oscar growled. "That's because we're bugs," they laughed. "That's what we do." Then they saw a ladybug, and off they went to prove their point by bugging her about the spots on her back. "Don't listen to them. They're knuckleheads," whispered a little voice. It was Edna, the bookworm, peeping shyly from behind Oscar's flower pot. "But they might be right," said Oscar. "And they might be wrong," Edna suggested. "Want to find out?" Looking first this way, then that way, she silently motioned for Oscar to follow her up. They crawled off the windowsill, then up the bookcase, until they came to an old book made of shiny brown leather and decorated with gold. "Can't judge a book by its cover," Edna said, opening a small door at the bottom of the book. It was the door to a library. As far as Oscar could see, there was nothing but bugs and bookworms reading them. "Wow!" Oscar yelled. "Shh," the bookworms replied. "Don't worry," Edna said. "They love to do that." Oscar and Edna found all kinds of books that said caterpillars do grow wings and turn into butterflies, and that the butterflies who look like Bob do fly all the way to Mexico. None of these books said Bob was nuts. They said he was right. Oscar also studied maps. Mexico was thousands of miles away, which was quite far for someone whose whole world had been in a flower pot. It was a little scary, but Oscar found out about all these different places he'd see and the different bugs he'd meet, and the more he wanted to go there. Oscar also found out that they speak Spanish in Mexico, so he figured he'd like to do that too. He learned to say hello, hola. He learned to say goodbye, adios. He learned to introduce himself so everyone would know who he was saying hello and goodbye. "Hola, mi nombre es Oscar." "But will they know me when I'm a butterfly?" Oscar asked. Sure, Edna replied. No matter what you are, you will always be Oscar. Too soon, the time came for Oscar to take that long caterpillar nap they read about. He'd sleep, and when he woke up, he'd have wings. Before you go, let's learn one more thing, said Edna, and they learned how to say goodnight. Buenas noches. Oscar went to his sleep and dreamed of distant blue mountains all over and all of the new friends he'd like to meet as he rode the wind of Cleveland and all the way to Mexico. He slept and he slept and he slept some more. Then one day Oscar woke up. As he yawned, he wiggled out of his cocoon. He felt something else wiggle on his back. Wings! He had wings! But something wasn't right. He also had an appetite, a big one. And why was he craving socks? Hey, Oscar, Nibbles shouted from the inside of the closet. Taste this designer sweater. It's yummy. Look at us, yelled Wiggly. We're flying around a light bulb for no reason. Whee! Cried Squirmy. Fighting the urge to head for the light bulb, Oscar flew to the mirror instead. Oh no, he cried. Someone made a mistake. I am not a butterfly. I'm a moth. Now Oscar would never ride the wind. He would never see Mexico. For the rest of his life, he'd fly around a light bulb or sit in a drawer eating old socks. Oscar tried to make the best of it. Even with nowhere to go, flying sure beat crawling. And socks actually tasted pretty good. But when Oscar said more socks please in Spanish, it made him sad. It just reminded him of the blue mountain he'd never see. He might have forgotten all about Mexico, but one bright night, Oscar happened to land on his favorite flower in the window. He hadn't come there since he'd been a moth, and looking around him, a tiny piece of paper caught his eye. There was writing on it. This is what it said. Dear Oscar, amazing things can happen when a moth thinks like a butterfly. Write me from Mexico. Love, Edna. Oscar felt the moon beckon to him. Like a big light bulb in the sky, yes, he was a moth, and what a moth. Adios, amigos, said Oscar. I've got a postcard to write. And off he soared up towards the moon and into the great night sky. Where are you going? Squirmy called after him. You won't get that far, shouted Wiggly. What's amigos? Nibbles asked. Can you eat it? The other moths figured he'd be back as long as there was a porch light to fly around. After all, they said, he's a moth. That's what we do. But that's not what Oscar did. Even with the porch light on, he never came back. However, there are blue mountains in Mexico. High in these mountains, there's a green field that is alive with countless butterflies. In the middle of this field, there is a flower. Sitting on this flower, you'll find a moth who's writing a postcard to a friend. If you ask this moth his name, he'll most likely say, Mi nombre es Oscar. Dear Edna, I thought like a butterfly. Love, Oscar. P.S. Bob says hi. And that is the end of Adios Oscar.